this is Spencer Colgan from Spencer Colgan is Wallpaper. Today we're hanging an Anna French product. And if you like the paper, here is the label. Check out the walls for this installation. It's a little odd. I agree that this is a lot of obstacles for any paper hanger. Little pain in the neck. But here's the issue. We're going on to this wall from here, but look what's going on. You have to plan this out with this in mind, that this wall doesn't act conventionally and just go this way. You're coming over this wall here, but you also have to go over here. So when you plan it out, you have to keep in mind this wall and the needs of this wall. So I think it's best to plan accordingly from this wall. So here's what I'm doing. With only 5 inches of waste on this edge, I'm starting my paper right here, bringing it up onto this, acting as if this wall were a full wall. I'm bringing my paper here, 1/8 of an inch onto here. So I'll continue it this way, but this edge that we'll have only leaves me with 5 inches of waste over here, okay? Now, as I continue from this sheet over to here, here's what I want you to keep in mind. If you don't keep this left edge clean of this first sheet that goes up, you will have a raised wall. And when you go to join your sheet from here to this one, the glue will have dried and you're going to have a difficult time with that seam. So the point is, you must clean the left seam as if you were finishing the job and going home for the night, meaning that you clean all of the glue off of it and the glue that's against the seam over here. I've made my mistakes with this. So the left edge cannot have a mountain on it. Imperceptible mountain, but nevertheless, a mountain of glue that will raise your next sheet and the seam will be visible. Okay, so keep that in mind if you have that issue going on. So all I'm saying is that this edge now, it's imperceptible, but guess what? We got glue here. See that? And if you leave this alone, right, it's going to lift this seam just above, and you'll never say, what happened here? What is going on? What happened to the paper? It's the wall. No, you built up the wall with the glue. So I share with you mistakes I've made so that you don't have to go through it. That's it. You don't want to kill it. You're just wiping it. See, there's nothing there now. And that's it. All right, so let's talk about this sheet here. Now, here's a common mistake the do-it-yourselfer is going to make. You're going to go up to the ceiling and say, okay, my piece is 103 inches from top to bottom. You're going to forget about matching it up, and then you're going to be 4 inches short at the bottom because you forgot to take into account the repeat. Here's what I suggest to do-it-yourselfer. You know how kids count like this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Better than nothing, right? I suggest the new person, the do-it-yourselfer, start with taking the whole roll of paper that's now being glued. Take the whole roll of paper and put it up against here. Ladies, get your husbands to help. Get them in on the project. Put your wallpaper up against here. When you have it matched, you have to first make sure that you have enough to reach the ceiling. That will be your first point. You say, okay, I have enough at the ceiling. Does it match over here? And then you say, no, I got to bring it up 3 inches. Fine. Now you know you're long enough at the ceiling. All you do is you have your helper bring it down to the bottom, make a mark, not there, but here. Add a couple inches to it, okay? And then you'll know. You won't, it's very common to mistakenly cut your wallpaper too much. You take too much off, and then you wind up throwing the sheet out instead of splicing it because you don't trust your stuff to splice it. But you don't want to be doing that. Just start up there, make sure. Look, if you're really bad at all of what I'm saying, bring it far enough to touch the ceiling, and then you match it over here. You bring it over. Okay, it matches. You got enough there. You just bring it all the way down. Put your fingers right here. Press up against that right there. So at least you got a mark if you don't have your pencil with you. And then you cut it down there. And then you have a sheet that's long enough. Okay? And for those of you who say, well, I don't know what's up or down. But I still will get the customer to tell you what they prefer to be up and what they prefer to be down. There should be a wallpaper ladder. I'm going to tell you why. An A-frame ladder goes like this and like this. Well, if your ladder at the bottom is metal, it could wind up scratching your wallpaper. In that case, I suggest you take an old carpet and glue with construction glue the bottom of your ladder with carpeting. Hey, listen, it's better than nothing. Old carpeting. Tape will eventually get gunked up with glue and it still can scratch, okay? But carpeting will give you a nice long amount of time with something that's not gonna scratch your paper. I never see anybody do it, but that's what I would do if my wallpaper were getting scratched. Here's the tool that you want for hanging paper. Can anybody tell me why? When I drop my paper, when I'm on the wall up here, it's not banging into the ladder. You see that? And I can move my body close to the wall. Now, you want to hurt your back? Stand on your A-frame and lean over to the wall and put all the pressure on your lower back so that you go home, like I do, in pain. When you get down to the corner here, rock your blade. When you get to this point, if you pull it too hard, you'll slice the paper open. So you just come down here and about 1/4 of an inch from the edge, just rock it. That's all. Same thing here. You cut this across. Don't keep going because you'll cut the other end. Just start here and bring it toward the center. And this way, you do it without damage to the paper. Okay, so how do you do? I like to cut this like this. I trim it before I give it the final cut so that I don't overcut. It's very easy to make that mistake. So I have a little, you can't see it, but I have more paper than I need. So now I get to trim it. Okay. Okay. Wow, that's good stuff. Okay. So, let me just show them that cut up there. I leave the corner with more paper than I need. After I trim it, get all that paper out of the way, then I cut it. Makes it a lot easier. To cut this, I want to hold this out, put a little pressure on it. With a sharp blade, with a long enough shaft, you're going to simply penetrate it right up against that edge. If you go too slowly, it won't be a nice, sharp, crisp cut. Okay, same thing going down. Let's get it going. nice and straight. Okay. Let's bring them in. Nice and sharp. That's how you like it. You have the idea of what I was talking about. We started here, and then you saw that I had 5 inches left off of this edge. That came out very nicely. And so we're going that way. We cleaned our left edge here so that we can go that way when we want to. By the way, if you were doing this side, the only other consideration you would have is to make sure that you had enough wallpaper here to cover to at least here. So you could do that. You might be doing a wall with multiple interruptions of other walls. So planning becomes very important. And you see how we have a full pattern here of this thing? So that's something you want to take into account. What's your pattern? You may have something where you want fullness here and fullness at the edge. It becomes a real task to plan it correctly. A common mistake that you may make if you're new is something that I did when I was new, is to assume that because it's correct here for 13 inches, that it's going to be correct all the way down. You can be off literally 8 inches. If you're not thinking plumb, 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 believe it or not, as new installers, you make a very common mistake, and that is to assume that this is straight because it's straight here. But you know how a door, when you hang a door, if you've ever hung a door, what's going on? Why is it banging into it? One of the possibilities is your door is off. You can't see it, and that's why you keep investigating. Well, if you don't use a level here or a plumb bob, you will make the mistake. Okay, just hold on to that video. Okay. If I didn't say it, I wouldn't be angry. I asked. Okay. The level has to be put on this part here so that, and I would start it up where it is straight. Now, if it looks straight, I want to show them how much it was off. To show them how much it was off and how much it needed to be pulled over. That's a lot. Okay, so don't make that mistake. 2 things. 1, you have this window. There's 2 ways to handle it. Protect your window with plastic, or glue the wall. Glue the wall. Unless your wallpaper specifically calls for gluing the wall covering. But guess what? I'm gonna glue the wall, because I know how to make the wallpaper stick if I just glue the wall. And if you know how to do it, I suggest you just glue the wall too. You can avoid all the problems of getting wallpaper on this. Good luck trying to clean that. You know what I'm saying. So we glued the wall. And so why am I covering this? Because the wallpaper strip I'm using has glue on it. So we're just showing you this is what you should do. Now, second consideration. You may be dealing with a very wide wallpaper, which goes from here all the way over to here. And here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna waste this first piece if you're a do-it-yourselfer. You're gonna say, I don't understand. I cut this thing out and it's just not. In that case, here's what you would do. Take the whole sheet. You need a helper who holds the paper perpendicular to this wall. You're gonna push the paper all the way over here. Your helper's gonna hold it out. You see this tape? Just like this is perpendicular to the wall. This would be parallel. This is perpendicular. And then he holds it out, and then you cut it here you cut its bottom counterpart, and then you keep moving it over, and you help her hold it perpendicular to the wall. It's the only way you can do it. Okay, so you're hanging paper up against something with a profile. Could be crown molding, it could be a cabinet, could be a chair rail. This sticks out further than this. So what do you cut first? Here's a common error for beginners. They cut this. They come all the way down, all the way down, all the way down. Then they go around the chair rail or the obstacle, and then this is avoided because they didn't follow this instruction. Now, if you find your pattern not meeting up, take your smoother, press it up against it, displace the volume. See this buckle? Can you see that through your camera? See that? Push it up till she meets. No big deal. Just generally push the paper into place. First consideration is your seam. Second consideration is your woodwork. Who cares how it looks over here so far? This is the main thing. And it's got to meet up. Doesn't meet up, take your smoother, displace out. Once that's done, now you can start making creases. This is going to be your cut. Nice, up and down, depending on your wallpaper. If it gives up the color, don't do this. Okay, show them the crease I'm making. I want them to see this. See this crease? Okay, all the way down. Okay, can you go on my left? We don't want a crease here. Not yet. Holding this down. You have to know, you want to be in the middle of your cut. Okay. Somebody's gonna say, oh, he cut through the woodwork. No, I didn't. This. Okay, and I go upward, because if I go downward, I might be short underneath this trim. Now, we don't want to get cocky here. We want to go slow. Okay. I'm cutting nice and easy, right to the midpoint. Slowly, because if I go too fast, I'm going to cut right through this. Switch my hand around, and I'm going to go up. Look at that. And then we want to push it in here, because we don't want this tearing. If we're too hard, and if it's cheap wallpaper, it's going to tear. So we got our finger in there. Look at that. Now, with my blade, look at all I'm doing, just pushing in there. I'm setting it up. I'm relieving tension in there. Now, look what I can do. Now I make my crease. I push my blade in first, then I cut. Look at that. Look at that. Look at how beautiful. Come up here. Meet the cut right in the middle. Nice sharp blade. Now, the customer I'm working for wants this space. She didn't want it caulked. There's a space here, just in case you didn't see it. Okay, so my cut is perfect. Now, I failed to cut that. Now, you see this? Don't cut too much. Cut less than you need cut off. So you have a nice amount. Now, finishing off the cut. New blade. Okay. This is not going to break this paper. Put it in there. When you put this in here, you're ensuring that your wallpaper is in the corner. If you try to guess, you're going to cut it too short. Now, it's in there. Nice and easy. I'm rocking my blade. I'm on a radius here. I don't trust my hand. I'm rocking. There you go. I just felt it penetrate. Now, we can do this. Now look how beautiful that is. Pull that off. There we go. Finish it off. Come on. What the heck is that? Okay. Look at that cut. Just show them that beauty. Look at that. Look at that perfection. Can't get any better than that cut. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. If you have a gut, You gotta get down there. First consideration, your seam. Make sure that it matches up before you cut this, because once you cut it, you're committed. Okay, our seam is good. Now you wanna go easy here? Check this out. Make it easier for yourself. Just make sure you got enough paper to cover the profile. Okay, very nice. Okay, now. Oh, what a mess. Okay, scratch that plan. Okay, I'm gonna get down there. Nowhere else to do it. We're only 13 inches from the floor. And we have multiple parts of the profile. So here's another plan, okay? They're in there, they can see this. Here's what you do. 1, 2, 3, 4. You're relieving tension. You need your wallpaper to get into that. Okay, now rock the blade. Don't go too far. See that? Now I can pull my wallpaper. I just almost stabbed myself. Pull my wallpaper into this. See that? Okay. Can they see that? Get them in there, nice. Now with all those cut marks, look, I have no tension here. I can start cutting this. So I put now I'm rocking. I'm not pulling my blade because I have multiple ins and outs on that profile. And this is something you want to take your time. If you rock the blade, you will not overcut. You're less inclined to overcut, I should say. Okay. Keep pushing that blade. Now watch this. This is what I do. Can you get the camera this way? Here's what I do with my blade now. I stab the paper because I don't trust that I can go around that profile. See, I just stab it. I make punctures in it like that. And look at that. I perforate it. It's like a perforated line. I can see it. Maybe you can't. Now, I'm gonna cut along my perforated edge. Look at that. Look at that. Nice and easy. Okay, come up there. Scratch at it. Nice, nice, nice. Okay, what about this? Let's do it nice and easy. Look at that. Pull that blade. Shake it so that the blade does what you want it to do. Okay, how do we do? Oh, look at that. Look at how perfect. We only have one issue there. Let's rock the blade on this. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Perfection. Okay. Now we get up. Don't get lazy now. Push that in there. Spurts. Yeah. Nice and easy. And we do. Take a smoother, rock it. Get that wallpaper in there. That's where it's gonna live. Just rock it in there. Look at that. Show them that cut. Nice and easy. Show them everything so they know you're showing them the whole thing. Look at that. Look at how nice. See that? Okay. Very nice. Okay. That's how you do it. You might get a headache doing it, but that's how you do it. Okay, let's get the next sheet on. To get this next sheet on, you're gonna need 2 people. Our paper is going to bring us over to here. Okay? And so your helper will hold the wallpaper perpendicular above the window so you can make your cut. He will keep it perpendicular because that will keep your pattern straight. He will pull it out away from the window and you will install it above. When you have it cut right to the edge, you now have a piece that goes here, right? So then he's going to hold it where you can install it straight down. And once that's cut, your wallpaper, this piece that'll come over here, will be able to come out again. And you will make sure that it's level up against here, all the way down. Don't cut it yet, because you got to join it there. So it's going to end like right here. You're cutting here first with this thing, with the sheet straight out, and then you wrap it around here, come all the way down. Don't cut anything yet. Just leave the flap over this window, and then match it up there first, then cut it. Come around this edge. This is really advanced technique. Your paper, you'll think something's wrong with the pattern, something's wrong with the window, something's wrong with the wall. If your window is nice and plumb and your bottom is level, it's not your window. You have to relieve the tension because the tension is going to throw off your edge, it's going to throw off everything. So when you come down here, you want to start right here, relieving tension, relieving. Look at all the splits. This way, you don't have this buckle. See this buckle here? I'm still working that out. I'm going to let it relax here. And then I'm going to just trim all of this, these tension relief cuts. Okay? So that when I finish, it'll look like the other side. Okay? That's how you do it. Now for this sheet over here, since it's so small, you want to trim it. You don't want the hassle of that paper encumbering your ability to get it up quickly. So we've trimmed it and we've pasted the wall. So now if you look, Scott, we've come against an obstacle. And what we want to do here is, before we cut this, we have to deal, making sure that our paper sufficiently comes to the obstacle. If we trim it here and start trimming in the wrong place, what happens is you'll be short here. So first obstacles first. First, you get your line, you get your seam correct. Now pushing up and not down, we now put this piece into place. Now, starting here, going this way, we start trimming this piece. Okay, now what do we do here? We lift this up. Okay, now very gently, because this is where you can tear it. Look at how beautiful that is now. See how it fits in beautifully? See that? Look at how nice. Now, you want to pivot your smoother so that you don't make a wrinkle around that corner. Before you cut this, make sure that your seam is attached. Now, you're not going to do this because you're going to separate the seam. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to do this. Push down on the trim, down on the trim, down on the trim. so that your seam doesn't come apart. And so now we're going to go on to our adjacent wall, but let me show you this wall. By the way, as I show you the beauty of this installation here, I want to thank all of you who voted for me to participate in the contest to wallpaper the White House. I was one of 5 finalists in the USA, and I was just informed that I will be wallpapering the Oval Office. And I couldn't have done that without all of you. And I want to thank you for having voted for me on that YouTube channel that I posted 10 days ago. Now, if you believe that, I have a bridge to sell you.